And so today we're going to talk about labeling and what are the benefits of labeling, and then also what are the consequences, or how can we then even use labeling as a way to solidify? Can you imagine this? A way to concretize, a way to make solid reality that in fact is not true. In fact, is never true. And so I'll talk about that labeling because we're all so familiar with it. The label that says, I am this. I am fat, I'm stupid, I'm brilliant, I'm the best, I'm worth it, I'm right. And it isn't that any of those statements might not have some reality in them. It is that reality is what? Impermanent. Like we just had a moment of quiet and now we don't. And say, if you were to say, this is a quiet morning, right? And label your morning quiet, then when something else happens, what happens?
It's not there anymore.
It's not that. And what do we do with that? It's bad. It's wrong. It shouldn't be happening because I have already named this a quiet morning, right? And so you can see how the consequence of labeling or conceptualizing, framing life, it should be like this, is actually always wrong view. Always wrong view. It also says in the teachings, particularly in the Buddhist tradition, that it is useful to label things in these ways: of benefit and not of benefit. Oh, that's a little different. Skillful and not skillful. Get the idea? How is it different? Are those two forms of labeling different? I am, you are this. It's permanent, solid, fixed, never to be otherwise. And in fact, if it is otherwise, I deny, avoid, resist the truth of it because I want it to be like that. Or I get angry at it, I reject it. Or the other, this is of benefit, this is not of benefit. What would be the difference?
Control.
Control, where's the control different?
Well, you can create a solid foundation by separating like good and bad things.
Yes, you think you can,
Yeah.
until you can't. Until the prisoner that we wrote to in the New York State Penitentiary System, we were part of the Zen Prison Project, the Sangha, early on. And we wrote a man named Marche. Marche was in solitary, which suggests a fairly serious offense. And Marche, we would write Marche, and Marche did what? Does anybody remember Marche and what he did? Marche took all of his cash one month, which ended up to be almost the same $13 as the number of Sangha members, and he sent it to us. And he said, I want you to hold this dollar for a time in gratitude from him for the commitment we had made to him to write and to ask how he was. And then I'd like you to pass that on and let that goodness also pass to others, not just to me. Right now, that was Marche. I don't know what Marche's offense was. I know it was significant. I know it was heinous to the extent that he had trouble with other prisoners. I know he was in solitary. And is it true then that one is all good or all bad? No. Hard idea, isn't it? Hard idea. Is it true then that you are yourself all good or all bad? No. Is it true that you have done things that have been of great benefit? It is true. Have you loved? Have you cared? Have you tended? Have you committed? Have you been generous? Have you been giving? It is true. It's true of all of us, actually. Is it also true that there has been greed, hatred, and delusion as a part of your life and mine? Certainly, also true. When we throw these things then into camps, good, all good, bad, all bad, we do not see the Dharma. We do not see reality. But our tendency, and where most of our suffering comes, says the neuroscience, is to label something this, and then to go, it should be that. And then when it does not realize your idea, by the way, who knows, your idea of thatness, it should go like that. You what? Suffer, resist, struggle, get angry, get defensive, shut down, turn away, don't we? Don't we? So I wanted to name that kind of labeling because that's not the one we're going to do today. That's the labeling that fixates, that identifies, that attaches to, that forms and does not allow growth, healing, change to occur. That labeling, not so helpful. But so I said, labeling thoughts, why bother? This is a different kind of labeling. How might you guess that it might be different? What might be different about it? How could that same word, labeling, we're talking about it in two different ways now. One, the fixated, attached, permanent, and then the suffering that will always come. And this other labeling thoughts. How could that be a different process? In fact, it's dramatically different, which is why I wanted to talk about it today. I hope everyone can hear me now. Is it okay?
Yeah.
How is it different?
Maybe it's temporary and accept as
Ye-
fleeting.
It's fleeting. Labeling thoughts is what? Only that moment. Only that thought. And are you making an opinion about the thought? Are you forming a judgment about the in fact, the whole point of labeling thoughts as thoughts is not to then continue the proliferation of thought into me. I don't like that one. That thought sucks. I suck because I had that thought, right? It's simply to note the cloud as the cloud arising and passing, right? We can call a cloud the cloud and not go, it's got to stay like that. It's got to stay fixed. It can't change. And if it changes, it's a violation. In fact, when we name cloud, what do we know? Fleeting, Larry said. Changing. No fixation, no stuckness, no permanence. In fact, I'm preparing myself in that label, cloud, to do what? Watch its arising, passing, its unfolding. So the whole point of labeling thoughts as a thought is to set the mind in right measure to the fleeting, impermanent, non-substantive, what are some other words? Non-fixed, not you. It's tricky. Nature of them, right? When I say thought, it's no longer about me. Get this idea? When I name thought, I recognize its dissolution, impermanent, not present nature, and I set the mind in right measure. Thought, right? It unhooks us. Can you see the potential there? Rather than go, the dog shouldn't be barking. I'll just use poor little man who's now, by the way, it crashed. Let's see, everybody could see that crashed dog right there. Yeah, he had to get that little bit out there. Now, by the way, let's use little man. Is little man a loud dog or a quiet dog?
It's a dog.
Be careful. And how much of him is a dog, and when would he stop being a dog? I set Tanya right up for that.
Mhm.
If I cut off his paws, would he still be a dog? As we understand dog. Take off the fur, dog. Remove the bark, dog. But at some point, this is the we call the operation of no self. There is no fixation even there, is it? Dog simply gives us a constellation of characteristics that helps us form right relationship, right? So with the dog, you might choose to pet the dog. You might choose to stay away from the dog, knowing, right? We call our knowing to mind about the dog, right? As it relates to the self, then labeling self is not seen as particularly skillful. Why?
Well, you can give somebody an impression that it's unnecessary who you are.
That's exactly correct. It doesn't have too much to do with that cloud-like nature. If you go, clouds are always what? What are clouds always? Nothing. Yeah, maybe, not really, but don't we like the idea? And the whole point of this labeling is to recognize the very things I'm saying: impermanent, transitory, ever-changing reality. Is it really about the cloud? No. Is it really about the dog? No. Is it really about the other? No. Then what is it really about? Because we recognize change better in things than we do in what? Our mind, our thoughts, and self. We fixate self. So people say, oh, that's not like you. Really? What do you know? I was telling somebody the other day the story of Carrie and I in Turkey in the cab, and how I was getting prepared to stab the cab driver in the neck with the pen. And that's true. And I completely 100% was prepared. I'm going, you're going to kick out, and I'm stabbing this guy straight in the neck. And they went, oh, that's not like you. And I went, you don't know that part of me. Is all. Oh, yes, it is. It's very like me and my lineage. I have murder right in me under certain circumstances. And then you could say, well, that's not good. Couldn't you?
Mhm.
Wouldn't it be easy? Be easy.
Well, I thought it immediately, so
Yeah,
say it, but like, oh,
yeah,
that can't be good.
that can't be a good thing. That can't be a good thing. Right? See what we do?
I guess.
Look how we fit. Yeah, it's not a good thing unless that guy's taking you to a human trafficking location. Then it might be a great thing.
Mhm.
Is it of benefit or not of benefit? Well, you cannot determine it, by the way, folks, by the action. Isn't that crazy? You cannot determine it by the action. Oh, no. So when you see that person swerving, when you see that, right? And you're going, no, I know that's not cool. That guy's just, you don't know what's going on, in fact. Right? But we like this idea, and we build storyline, thought, right? That's good. That's good. This is right. Right. Does that mean you don't get to make wise decision about what you are observing? Well, if you are observing without bias, I would count on it. I would count on it. If you aren't falling just into, I don't like that. I don't think that's nice to stab people in the neck with pens, right? You're not just lost in your preference nature. By the way, it's mine too. I try not to stab people generally in the neck with pens as a general rule. right? So we have to watch this. So what's the labeling about? And then we'll practice. The labeling then is about recognizing our habit nature mind, not for the naming of the object. That can be skillful. Cloud-like. That's good to know, right? A dog, good to know. There's some ways I may now, by virtue of knowing dog, act skillfully, caringly, supportively, both for who? Me and the dog. I'm not going to put my face right up to that dog, knowing dog is dog. Not wise, right? And I'm not going to go, all dogs are good, all dogs are bad. That would not be so skillful, right? So we're going to practice with labeling thoughts. Labeling a thought isn't saying anything about its content. Murderous thoughts, obsessional thoughts, looping thoughts, thoughts that I get stuck on, thoughts that I can let go easily. This is not our practice first. It becomes fine practice later in the practice. But what's the first thing? A cloud first, just as a cloud. We recognize it, right? Oh, that constellation. And then we're going to do what? Anybody know? Let it go. Now we're not pushing it away, very different. We're not getting rid of thoughts. That's not helpful. In fact, that's seen as attachment. It's just the other side of attachment to thoughts. We're just gonna, like clouds passing in the sky, let them come and go. See if the labeling, and I'll give you some guidance about that on the way, isn't supportive of what we'll call quiet mind. Quiet mind. Somebody asked me yesterday, and it was lovely. He said, I have to switch my brain over into thinking to name a thought as thought. And then I said, what? Don't do that. That would only be if you are already proliferating in thought. If you see a random thought called bird, I wouldn't take the time for that. That's already in its fleeting and permanent arising and passing nature, isn't it? You don't have to. Naming thoughts are what? When we get lost in the river of thoughts that we need to get our boat back. Then we name thought as thought, we let it go, and we come back to the body. Let's see how we do. Let's see if this practice, one of the first practices, besides knowing breath as breath, and that's how we're going to begin. So just establishing yourself in a comfortable, supported posture. Alert, upright, with ease. Watch for rigidity. And we don't immediately turn the mind to the breath. We first just lower the eye and rest the body a little bit, settle back a little bit into awareness of the body in space. Initial thoughts, just noticing all the space around us and the felt sense of that space in the body, the bird singing, the coolness of the air on the skin. I can feel a lightness around me even with my eyes closed. So I would guess it is morning. If I couldn't see, I would also guess it's morning because of a certain kind of dampness. We're just waking up the senses, dropping into sensing, seeing if we could leave all just that thinking a little bit behind. Remember, you won't stop thinking. We're just going to let it roll around in the background. So we've set the body, we've set the mind, and then we set the heart. And as we set the heart, we recollect the reasons, the commitments, the aspirations, and the intentions for our practice today. To be kinder, to be peaceful, to be more awake, to know more about my own heart mind, to know something about this human life, to be able to act skillfully in accord with its truths. These are all beautiful intentions. And see if you can't breathe that right into the heart space. Activate that heart of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta meaning awakened heart mind. And then we recollect those for whom we practice, beginning with yourself. We call those others to mind, we picture them, and we breathe them in to that heart refuge as well. I'm calling to mind Carrie Ann, good friend. And then I'd like you to rest back a little more, shifting attention once again now to that energized heart, infusing the whole body. Infusing the whole body with your whole breath. Now, we're not going to force the breath here. This is a bad habit. We're just going to breathe, knowing the breath in the whole of the body. And for some people, that's somewhat difficult. So we could breathe into the whole breathscape. The upper lungs all the way down to the lower abdomen. We infuse that energized heart of bodhicitta with the breath into the whole breathscape. We're just going to rest there for several minutes. Watch for pushing the breath. Let it go. You're feeling the breath in the whole breathscape. We are committing ourselves wholeheartedly then to each in-breath, and then trying to stay with the breath as best we can for the whole out-breath, with that light touch at the end of the out-breath. Let the breath complete. See if you can't stay with and engaged in the felt sense of the breath all the way to the end of the movement of the breath into that still open space at the end. We apply the instructions again with each breath. We're pacifying, unifying, and settling the mind more and more with each breath. You will notice sounds, sensations, thoughts. We're going to let them roll along in the background. We will not be labeling these thoughts. This is just awareness of phenomenon happening all around. It still is a type of awareness. We're just going to direct our attention again and again to the breath instead of those other objects. It's not like they're not happening, but we can choose to place attention. Remembering that we never push away experience. A sound is a sound. We simply let it come and go. Knowing a sound is a sound, in fact, is actually a thought. You can know a sound as a sound, for example. It's a nice thing to practice with here since we have lots of sounds happening. You can hear sound. The ear door picks up the vibration of sound, and the mind consciousness knows sound is sound. You don't have to label sound to know it. So we're going to practice here just letting sound arise, letting the ear door pick it up, letting what's called ear consciousness make contact. You need all those parts, by the way. And we simply let it appear and disappear. Nothing else to do. Now, in this practice of opening to sounds, we can move beyond the breathscape if you're feeling stable enough, and then using the vast space all around us as our field of awareness. We're going to widen the lens to include this whole sky-like spacious field of awareness in front and back, the sides, up and down. And we're going to rest the mind and the breath there. And so it'd be like breathing into one big container, moving beyond the body on the in-breath. And settling it all the way back to the body on the out-breath. There are often pleasant sounds like the sound of the birds, and because we're fairly familiar, and to some extent this is a little expected, we don't have to go into noting, naming, or labeling at all. We can just let the sounds pretty well come and go. We have enough practice for that. But now I'm hearing actually the sound of a young child, sounds like a girl in distress. And I could feel the way my mind was moving towards that, not staying in the open field of all sound. And so I just recollected, oh yeah, this is sound too. Just letting it arise and be and pass without then forming resistance or struggle. And noting sound in that moment was pretty helpful, so that I didn't get hooked in aversion or in distress myself with sound. Now we have again here, see what's true for you on Zoom. We have the sound of maybe a saw or some kind of construction equipment here. And we're going to see if we can't stay in the large container of awareness, continuing to open to all sound. We're going to see if we can't greet all sound with equanimity, recognizing our natural preferences. We don't have to try to get rid of those. Actually, knowing them is helpful. Letting sound be sound. This is really handy. You can see where labeling might be useful and not bothering to label might be useful. If we have opinions about sound, if we get carried down the preference river with sound, maybe noting sound could unhook us, letting us form right relationship to sound and coming back to the breath, stabilizing once again. Recognize, release, return to the breath. see if you notice that rather than cleaving onto any one sound, it might be a little bit more useful to just rest back a little bit in the open space in which sounds are arising and passing. Resting in the stillness and the silence that comes before and from which all sounds come. For some of you, that won't be possible because you don't have enough experience with that. Then you can come right back to the breath. Regain some stability with the breath when we're getting twisted or twizzled by too many objects, getting caught up in preferences of objects, having opinions about objects. And then sometimes we cultivate storylines about the objects. And now we're really flowing down that river of thought. Returning to the breath then again and again. This is called replacing objects. And we stay with the breath then as long as is needed to reunify, stabilize, and calm the mind. Sounds we like and sounds we don't like. The sound is sensing or hearing. The liking or not liking are thoughts. Thoughts about the sound are not the sound. They are add-ons, extras, accessory. They are preference-based, bias-based, maybe even historical, based on your other experience with that sound. But figuring out which is not helpful. We just recognize sound. We don't have to label it usually. And then if there is any corresponding thoughts, you may just notice thought or liking or preference. For a lot of people, moving into the next feeling tone for a thought is helpful. Noticing a thought and then noticing its pleasant or unpleasant feeling tone. this can also be very helpful to label. Let's practice that a little, just noticing an arising object, a sound, a thought. And then seeing if you could get any bodily sense in relationship, a kind of opening, allowing, moving towards. That might be the liking, the contraction, the shutdown, the movement away. That might be not liking. And then stay in the body for that moment. And see if you don't notice the preference of mind. Ah, pleasant. Unpleasant. And then we let it go again. There is no sound better or worse than another. And there is no thought better or worse than another. Can we use both sounds and thoughts to know something about the quality of our own mind, the processes of our own mind, and then our relationship to those objects? And at any time that this is feeling like too much work, and now I don't know, am I on the sound? Am I on the thought? Am I in the body? I don't know where I'm at. You can simply come back to the direct experience of the breath. Rest there. We're going to let go of all labeling now. We're going to let go of attention to sound or to the corresponding thought. We're going to simply come back into the body, resting in that full experience, that whole body or breathscape experience of the breath. And since we know the breath as the breath by felt sense, there's no need to note it or label it. In fact, it would be extra, unnecessary, and work. We can see simply resting in the felt sense of the breath is sufficient. As we rest in the breath, see what your current relationship is to sounds and thoughts. And may this practice be a benefit. Carrie, I can't see the chat very well. Will you see if there's anything there that would be helpful? Nothing that we need. Okay. Okay, so what do you know about objects, about labeling, about your mind in relationship to them? What'd you notice?
Pretty easy to make the story up every time you have a thought.
Pretty easy to make a story right out of the thought. I think the thought itself can make the story, particularly if it's compelling thought. Right? A thought we have a belief in, a thought that seems true, a thought that we have some attachment or aversion to. And I used aversion today, right? That pounding and saw. I got a little hooked in that right away. I stopped hearing all those other sounds because of Maya, the child.
To things in distress.
Yep.
I do.
Yes. Why do you suppose? Carrie said, my mind turns a little bit. There was a child with, perceived as being in some stress. Also, and then Carrie says there can be easily a corresponding storyline. The storyline that child needs help, or why aren't those parents doing blah, 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 or get that kid to shut up, or God, if there's any number, somebody should go over there and help. I don't know. Right. It's infinite numbers of possible thoughts that came along with that one sound. And so what do we know about that?
We kind of habitually go to infer things.
We build that.
Yeah.
It's very easy to build from that
Backdrop.
backstory. We could even maybe call that thing. And then from the development of the backstory, what's even a bigger tendency, do you think?
To believe certain things.
To buy in, to make it true, to believe in it. Maybe not. I don't know. And then from there, what? Now that I've believed in it, this is a child in distress. What would be very easy to do? Form opinion, preference, perception. And then, this is the amazing thing about this, to take action. Now, the action doesn't even begin with, I'm going to go over there. What happens? It begins with one's own mind body. The actions begin in one's own mind. I don't like that. It might be, I'm going inside. I don't want to hear that. I'm going to close that door. Right? The actions actually begin fairly quickly. That's called volition in the aggregates. Volition, there are actions, movement towards or away is actually the beginning of action. And then from there, corresponding built other actions, wouldn't it be? Now I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to take a walk over there. I'm going to call CPS. I'm going to listen. I'm going to write any infinite number of things. Now, this is not me saying anything is right or wrong here. That's not my point. I don't know, actually. That I do know the processes of mind, and it does follow very consistently in that what we call aggregate form. It starts with contact. It moves from contact to appraisal. The appraisal then turns into preference or familiarity, and by the way, that happens in nanoseconds.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a 24-hour situation, right? Like that fast. And it's habituated. And we have to remember that. Habituated meaning I have a pattern with these things. And my pattern plays out in a way that I then imbue the object with my pattern as the truth, called that kid is annoying. Right?
It
my-
doesn't take long to come up with, does it?
No, not very long. Or somebody needs to go over there and help based on what conditioning, histories, beliefs, experience, right?
I just think that in this election year, it's going to be very, like, I haven't listened to the news and I don't really know what's going on. But my brother listens to every bit of whatever news. And
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting how you can apply this to all sorts of things to really realize that, well, I really have no idea. I mean, it.
No. No.
Affix an idea or belief or label.
And then a
Anyway.
corresponding
Helpful.
attachment or rejection,
Oh, yeah.
right? Then a corresponding attachment or rejection. And again, the teachings that we are looking at say all attachment is ill-formed. All aversion is ill-formed. It will cost you something. Different than skillful attention. Recognizing my preference, right? As preference. This is pretty helpful. Now, again, I'm just going to stay with the simple sound of that young girl. There is no suggestion to me yet that she is somebody who's being abused. Right? I don't have that. However, if I have an abuse history, there is some kind of big possibility that I've already gone, I may have, right, that I have already formed a path based on conditioning. Based on conditioning. The reason we train them is to learn about those habits. Not to judge them, not to condemn them, but to actually go, oh, there was sound was arising, the ear heard it, the hearing consciousness made contact with it, and then the plethora of storyline of that I've got as I got to go in because I can't stand it. Begins to happen. And then we've just bought in without, and we stop attending. This is the consequence. We stop attending. We now have just formed our truth and we don't pay attention anymore. And this has significant consequence. Can you act skillfully without attention? The answer is no. No, you cannot act skillfully without attention. Can you act skillfully from conditioned habit mind? No, it says, because you've already made a decision about a thing because you liked it or didn't or had, right? Not so skillful. Not so skillful.
Megan said something on that same thought, being run by preferences, projection.
Yes, we have a very strong tendency, don't we, Megan, to imbue is the beautiful word in the suttas, to imbue life with our preference and conditioned realities. Knowing the difference is so skillful. Knowing the difference is so skillful. It helps me know this may not be a time for quiet acting. I don't like X. Just knowing that can be skillful and recognizing that simply as a thought, because preferences are all based on thoughts and history, is also skillful. Then I can decide, do I have to call CPS today? Well, maybe not. Do I recognize that I don't like the sound? I do. Am I concerned, curious, and want to stay a little interested? Yeah, that's not so bad. I'm going to keep watching. Right? It's good. Attention, choosing attention is skillful. Carrie, can you read that?
Dennis says, I have annoying students and immediately I realize what actions will make me feel calm.
Become calm. Is it possible to have an annoying student or is it possible to be annoyed? No. No, it is not actually both.
You're the one who's got the.
Yeah, there is no such thing as annoying students, as there is no such thing as bad sound.
I should have told that to all my teachers.
Yes, wouldn't you have wished?
That would have gotten me a lot.
It isn't me, it's you. Right now, by the way, am I in any way judging our preference? No. Preference is preference, thoughts are thoughts. But what is that based on? My experience, not the reality. Right? We have to be so careful because don't we go, I am unloving, I am distrusting, I am because of you. Well, no, and it doesn't mean you're trustworthy. I didn't say that. But they're not the same. They're not the same. In fact, I have someone in my family, my half brother, who I cannot trust at all. By the way, he's very trustworthy. I can count on him very consistently not to tell the truth. So far. So far. I don't know if that will continue, by the way. I don't know. I don't know his trajectory for growth and healing. I don't know. I just know today, based on what I know from yesterday, right? But does that make, right? Is he, my trust issues are mine. They're not his. And we tend to place responsibility and then power on the objects, rendering us then what? Victim. Now we are victim. You, by the way, I am not claiming skillfulness by the other. I'm not claiming honesty by the other. I don't know. Not at all.
Megan says, just like we train the mind to observe the object of attention, beginning with body and mind, and then we can begin training the mind to see other things as quote unquote objects separate from our worldview, coloring
Coloring the worldview for certain.
coloring.
Not separate from the worldview. The worldview is based on them. It is based on those. Megan, do you understand what I'm saying? Our worldview is the collective of those preferences, of those biases, of those thoughts. Otherwise, what would the world view be? No view. You'd go, I don't know. I'm just going to pay attention here, see how this thing goes. I don't know. Now, I know my preferences as preferences, and I do prefer chocolate to vanilla, and I don't have to change that. I just have to understand it as my preference so that when somebody says, I really like vanilla better, I don't go, you're stupid. What are you doing? You clearly haven't tasted the chocolate I'm tasting, because if you did, you'd know for sure chocolate's better. But don't we do it? Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. And then we go further, don't we? It's not then just based on chocolate and vanilla. What is it based on? Every categorization, every label. Remember when labels get to be problems? We go, well, you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're an independent, you're a communist, you're a color, you're a, right? And then we go, and I already know you now. You're a Russian. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Except that that person came from there. Maybe. You don't know that. That may be their heritage. They were born here. My mother says I'm Italian. She wasn't born in Italy. See, we have to be careful, don't we? And inquiry will support us here, won't it? Well, I would like to know more about that. What's that for you? That's helpful, right? What does that mean for you? What's that experience for you? Otherwise, we continue to expand this and get ourselves in a fair amount of trouble. Right, because then it's not only, and I'll stay with Anna's Russian for a moment, not only am I Russian, but people then have opinions about that. Then they have opinions about what? All Russians, all Republicans, all arugula, all, right, dogs, right. And then we stop paying attention, don't we, with the label? We use the label to check out, not to check in.
Russians label too.
Everyone does. Well, that's the nature of mind. As long as a Russian has a mind, they're doing the same thing we're all doing. This is what makes us similar. And I thought I saw Dennis say, I'm a Polak. Yeah. And look at all the imbued perspectives, opinions that came out of, right, any of that. And we recognize what lack of attention is fairly cemented there. Lack of attention. Well, because you're that color, because you're that ethnicity, because you're that gender, because you're that. And look at, we're in now a time in our world where we are intolerant of not labeling. We can't stand that. The non-binary, right? We get, this makes us nuts. Like, well, pick. So I can know what, well, you're not going to know because I don't want to be based on that. I don't want you forming a relationship with me on whether I'm male or female or da 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 da. And we're really challenging. This generation is challenging this, isn't it? Going, forget about it. I'm not saying. Now what are you going to do? And people go, I'm going to not like you because I want to know so I can have preformed relationship. Right? I just had a long.
You should have less rights or less freedom, or because you just.
Well,
can't
if I
figure
don't
out.
know you already,
Yeah.
preformed you, I don't want to know you. I don't want to. I don't want to have to say they and then have to try to figure out what's in there.
Or
That's ridiculous. You don't, I was in a corporate meeting, corporate. I was like, you guys better shut up. Right here. This is taped. I done taped that. Because they're going, we don't want to have to say
Oh, God.
they or them or, right? That's ridiculous.
Well, I think it is hard, because I do obviously talk to a lot of people, and some folks are having kids who are, are identifying as they, and then as parent, they're, I immediately go up and I go, well, how's your daughter or son? And then they quickly remind me, well, they are doing fine. Then I feel like, but I kind of inside, I get kind of annoyed, like,
Yeah.
what?
I want this to be easier.
Why? Is
Next
that
time
not
I see you, I don't,
offensive?
it's
Because
like,
everybody gets offended.
but I really have to
know?
think, and I really have to be
Yes.
sensitive about it, and I don't really understand it, but I'm not really, but I think,
No.
oh my God, this parent is just trying to get through probably, so.
The same
but I kind
confusion,
of- I
right?
do feel, and when I really dig deep, that it's, oh my gosh, I really kind of am annoyed, because then I have to really make an effort and think about it.
You have to make an effort.
Oh,
You
right.
don't
That's
have
so
it
nice.
prescribed. We don't
Right.
like this. I just want to know. I just want to be able to go, Russians are bad. This is so easy, right? Now, it doesn't have anything to do with the truth. It just was pretty convenient for me. Isn't it?
I had a patient, a family member tell me at work the other day, she goes, my daughter is non-binary. She says, she's non-binary. She goes, if she were just gay, I would understand.
Yeah, now gay is fine, doesn't.
Gay,
makes
okay.
people feel
Oh,
so
gay is
comfortable.
good. Gay is good. You pick something. That was a lot easier.
When you find yourself going, yeah, you just, yeah, that's.
But see, look what we
But
don't
she
like.
was here, so she was like, we just pick
She goes,
something.
she's still my daughter.
Well, see, we don't like this, do we? And so can we recognize the nature of mind that goes right into not liking? That goes right into you're bad. This is your fault. We have to be watchful. Let's be watchful.
Well,
we-
I find this, next week I'm going to a retreat, and our whole national team from everywhere is getting together, and. I've had, like, for 3 years, we've been on Zoom and we've been kind of battling it out. It's like, oh God, I already had these. This is really helpful to have this, because everybody's gonna be coming with their opinions and their strong,
Yes, they are.
and just, oh my gosh, I don't like even talking to you because you're annoying me, and
Yes,
all those real feelings that you just go, okay, let's slow it way down.
yes.
Let's take it. So this has been very.
Right. This is going to be, so I want us to recognize where labels are useful, but they're temporary, right? This isn't a fixed label. This is just to help us hold something for a moment. And actually to hold what? Something in the quality of us, not in the quality of the object.
Yeah.
Something happening for us. So when we say thought is thought, we're recognizing that there is some conditioned process with preference, bias, with the conditioning in us. And then we don't have to do what? Reject the object. We can just say, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't know when to say it. I get it wrong. I don't like getting it wrong. I like getting it right. I want you to fix this for me. Can't you just be a he or she? Making it easy for me. No. No, we're going to have to get bigger, aren't we? And yes, I am going to get it wrong. I've gotten it wrong about 10,000 times. I'm planning to get it wrong about 100,000 more. Why? I'm practicing understanding. I don't actually know when to say it. This is just one example, folks. This isn't the problem, is it?
But I think what you're saying is we have to really look back upon ourselves.
Completely.
I know that's where it really starts with that curiosity.
And we don't like it.
Whatever it is.
Right, whatever. My dad stopped going to his favorite holiday, Christmas, with his wife, Mo. I love Mo, because she had a lot of grandchildren. And my dad literally said the last 4 years of his life, I can't stand kids. What? You can't stand kids. I can't stand them. I was like, what? You had 3. We actually had 5. What do you do? What do you mean? He goes, yeah, the noise, I just can't stand it. I said, well, it may not be the kids. It may be you just being at an age and a place and a stage, but by the way, with no judgment about that, where that's just too much for you. Maybe it's just too much. That amount of noise, that amount of processing, that amount of attending to other things might just be too much for you. What did my dad say? Nah, it's the kids. Right? No, I don't think so. It's the kids. Right, it's not me. And by the way, don't we? Nah, it's just them. It's just it. It's just Trump. It's just blah, blah. It's just that thing. And as long as we believe that, we cannot be skillful, cannot be. Now, that's number one. The second cost of that is you will suffer. Now, I don't know if those kids suffered when my dad didn't show up for Christmas, but I know that he did, because he lost some beautiful opportunities for them to be grateful because they did appreciate him, right? For them to let him know how much they cared about him, right? And maybe it was too much for him. So he did have to let go of that. I don't know. It's not for me to say. Can we read chat before we close? Is there anything there? I'm going to have Carrie take a look at that.
Dennis just said, when I witness a boy becoming a girl, I really have to be open-hearted.
Yes. When we confront anything that's new, unknown, unpredictable, not in our preference or bias, do we have to be open? Well, maybe not immediately. It would be nice if we could get there. But what we would have to recognize is what? That's something about me. That would be just a great start. Those are just my thoughts about binary. This is just me preferencing chocolate above vanilla. And I believe that's skillful. Knowing a thought is a thought is then very skillful. So I want you to know, and yes, I do believe that an openness ultimately comes from it. I think that's also true. Why don't we sit together for a final moment? We're going to let go of all this thinking about labels and see if we can't drop in to where we are open and opening to that, and where we contract against labels. That means we have labeled the object, rather than labeled the process. We have labeled the object, bad, good, pleasant, unpleasant, wanted, not wanted, versus labeling, oh, thinking happening. Oh, a bias happening. Oh, preference happening, which is always skillful. Always skillful. All right, let's sit for a moment. Just resting in our aspirations for a final moment, calling them back to mind. To be skillful, to be peaceful, to be calm, to be loving, to be mindful. And then may we gather the benefits, the wisdom, the clear seeing, the love and the compassion cultivated from this practice today. And may we offer it. May we send it like the fine mist of loving kindness, of compassion, of equanimity and wisdom. May we send it out to all beings. May we all have happiness and the causes for happiness. May we all be free from distress, from fear, from anger, from hatred, and the causes of these afflictions. May we rejoice at the opportunity for this precious human life and its blessings, and may we wish these blessings for all beings. May we rest and dwell in the vast open arms of loving kindness, of compassion, of joy and equanimity, until all the world is awakened and free. May this practice contribute, and may it continue. So be it. Thank you all so much. Thank you for those of you who are here. Anna is here, who is Russian, by the way. And so Anna knows me, so I knew I could use that example without her taking offense.
They do like that too. I'm from Siberia, so they would say IQ from there.
They would. They would say Siberia. So Siberia specifically. Just like I'm from the south side of Chicago. I'm not from the north side. Those were the people with the nice houses. I lived on the other side. Right? And that is not also all that I am. Right? Thank you everyone so much for being here for this practice. I want you to be noticing where we label the objects versus where we are labeling or noticing, noting process in us. They're very different and they have very, very different results. One will guarantee suffering, the other will guarantee the contribution to the end. Let's see if we can figure out the difference. Be well, everyone.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Dee.
You're
Thank
so
you.
welcome. You're so welcome. I'm sorry for the delay. We had funky Wi-Fi today. It just wasn't quite working. Be well, everyone. Well, thank you. It was, I think the cold scared some people away today. It was, well, it started off at 47. That can feel a little,
Get chilling.
can feel a little,
Get some giddy up in your.
less than toasty for,
It
For
got me in the sun shine on my face.
oh, nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
Wait.
Wait a minute. I'm in liking. I'm in a lot of liking. Yeah. Yeah. It's not the liking that's actually the problem too much. It's the thinking that's the way it should always be then. There we get in trouble. But by the way, chocolate cake, if you like it, you like it. Not the problem. It's when you expect it, you should always have it. This is the nature of liking. It should always go my way. It should always be.
Yeah.
I guess that's.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you?
Oh, that's
Thank you.
You're so welcome, Larry. Thank
Yep.
you.
The new little one's on way.
See you sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think it's.
That would be lovely. What?
My little man.
No. No, it is not.
Do you have a trash can day?
Yeah, it's in there, back on that shelf and I go behind that, behind my chair. It's a little hidden because we're pulling up the floor. See it back there? Yeah, pull it out, would you? That would be easier for everyone.
Diana, are these chairs going inside or?
Yes, they go inside behind the door. Thank you. I'm gonna move this. This is dangerous. The chair, yeah, we're just putting that stuff back. Thank you. You're such a goofy.
How are you? That's good, yeah.
Wow.
We're just like in the middle eye of the storm there, I guess.
Why is it supposed to rain today?
25% chance.
Oh, I didn't think it was, it doesn't feel like rain today to me so far.
Oh, wait, I got one more to read.
Monday, I think.
Yeah, it's, I wouldn't, this isn't feeling like,
I'm a weather watcher.
my husband is as well. I
Oh, yeah,
don't believe
I
it.
just track the weather.
I don't trust anything.
But I
I
don't
think,
think we have, I'm gonna have to go talk with Al. I'm gonna have to confirm. I don't think there's any more.
Confirm. You better confirm. I know, it's really just, it loves the rain. It loves the rain.
Oh my God, in the gardens, I'm so excited. I mean, I have
Yes.
this. new-
Anybody need parsley or cilantro or just go down there.
No, I really,
There's a lot.
next weekend, I'm great.
You're so welcome, Hannah. So nice to have you here in the little chillier morning, but nice.
With, did you have a chance to send them a movie? Cause I think.
I did not send it yet.
Oh,
No, but I will.
is that for him or for everybody else?
The cookies are actually for everybody else. Those are just.
Dog's cookies.
Yeah, no. He does have a jar like that though, so he is probably looking.
Have a
isn't
good
he?
week.
Yes, thank you, Leanne. No, he's going, that might be mine in there. No,
Oh.
it is not yours though, is it? It's not yours. It's not yours. No, it isn't. Was it okay to pay for you? You
I
did.
really liked Leanne's shoe.
He loves to play. He loves to play.
Yeah, I put mine
Okay.
aside.
Yeah, we're not playing right now. Thank you.
All right.
Bye, Anna.
Thank you
Thank
so
you. You're so welcome. Good to have you this morning. Please come again.
Yeah.
Good.
What's that?
The cookies. Oh, because, my mother will come and eat them all. And then not. And then that feels so good. You can't help her. That's good.
How is she doing?
She is doing, oh, look at that. Oh, lovely, lovely. She is actually doing really well. Gonna get the eye surgery and we're gonna see how that goes and she's feeling good about it. And I don't think that means any guarantees about anything, but she feels like she's willing to risk it. So that's good. We'll see how it goes.
You can be blind in one eye, maybe.
What, maybe don't.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, she already is, so it's
Like,
like,
what do you lose it?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this, oh, excuse me.
Oh, no, that's okay.
I don't think it will kill her. No,
Maybe she's already been dealing with this.
he's been blind for 8, 9 months.
Right.
So the truth is,
Bye, Al.
Bye-bye.
I don't think you can, I guess you could get more blind, but not once you're blind.
No.
She is blind.
Yeah.
So she's like, what's gonna happen? And it's only a week and a half, so that's really good. I can't get over that. So I don't know if that's procedure change or the limited scope of the surgery, but whatever, it's not 6 weeks.
Or
That
maybe
I
they're
thought,
gonna do
this
it a
is-
different way.
This is gonna hurt her because laying, doing nothing,
And they're already calling it a Hail Mary.
it's always a Hail Mary.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't think anybody is guarantees anything.
Have a good weekend, Carrie.
Pretty good.
Always good to see ya.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay,
finish this.
great. Oh, I'm
What do
happy. to
you
hear
have
that.
in mind for the watering thingies that you, we should be buying? for
I
her?
can't find them. They look like little matches or something like that, and you put them in, and then the red tip,
Oh, yeah,
I can't find them.
Really?
We used to have them for plants, and they look like little matches.
Okay.
And you put them in, and when it's water, it's red, like a match.
Thing is,
Kinda just like a.
moist
sensor.
enough.
Yeah,
Moist
and when
means
it's
different.
not moist, it goes to kind of pale pink. And I want it, I cannot find anything.
Yeah, they have
Maybe
some
like a garden.
little
supply
sensor
store or
ones, but.
something?
Little sense, no, see, I have a thing where I walk around going, oh, how moist are you? How moist are you?
Yeah,
But
it's like
this
a
is
little
the thing.
gauge, right?
No, these are just little things you
But
put,
the ones you're talking about are just like a little matchstick, like you
Yes,
said, but the other
yes.
ones, like I've seen are gauge.
Yes.
They
yeah, I
yeah,
have that,
yeah.
but I want everybody to get one of that, because those are difficult. These are not easy to water.
Mhm.
They're
And you just
very
leave it in
challenging.
there all the time?
Yeah,
And it just is reusable.
it stays in. And then when you water it, it gets red, and when you don't water it, it's, and then I once saw frogs.
Mhm.
The frog is on top and the frog is green, which I really thought were super
That's
cute.
pretty cool.
Is that ever cute?
Yeah.
And it just sits there, and then when it goes gray.
Oh.
When
Oh,
it's
so you
gray.
Make them green again.
But how do you, I can't find them.
What about like maybe a garden supply place or something?
I'm gonna have
You know,
to
Surprised you can't find them on Amazon.
No,
No, I've already looked.
no,
Yeah.
no chance.
maybe just give a call to Gangrenos over here and see if they have an idea. or
I
a
got, I
recommendation.
have a funny feeling.
They're
China.
Oh, China.
I got a feeling. These are in Chinatown somewhere.
Hey, little man, stay here.
Oh, you wanna-
What is this? What is this? a
That's a-
area?
No.
Oh.
It is not. It's a desert rose.
Look at you guys. New tools.
Yeah, I need it. because- Bye, see you later, Carrie.
Bye.
If you need any help getting ready for tomorrow, let us know. If you need any tasters, keep us in mind also.
Have a good weekend.
He's doing
Bye-bye.
bread baking class tomorrow at a winery. Very exciting.
Oh.
I know, right? Don't you think? I think so too. Okay, let me pull this in.
I'm gonna take these up and I'm gonna move this furniture.
All right. Well, I don't think that should have to be you, babe. Truthfully.
Yeah.
You tend to take over and then not let people do their part. Well, then you don't need to move the furniture.
Okay,
You move it with him or let him move it.
all right.
I don't feel like that has to be you. You paid him for this.
Well, I paid him for 8 hours. He worked 2, so.
Well, that's a
it was
lot of
6
hours to
hours.
go.
Yeah.
I would say. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Should I leave this
What's
out here? then?
going on with that clock?
I don't know.
Look, if I move in front of it,
I already know that, Al.
Oh.
No,
but it keeps time.
there's something wrong with whatever the
There's something with the
mechanism.
Sensor. Is this Kleenex staying out here?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Are you leaving your, what's that Christmas flower and the wax?
Yeah, I'm leaving it out there for now.
Out there, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is everything that I really forget now? Okay. Okay. Might as well close this, I guess. What is this? Oh, So Tyler called you or did you call him? Oh, free help.
So, I do not have any jobs, but I can go, if you can go get some.
I don't know if we should have to do something. Cause we're the only ones eating it, so,
Well, I don't know, over Jenny's not here, and Livy.
well, you asked me, I guess.
No, I'm asking you, I don't invite anybody else.
I already said yes,
Okay.
but I already did that.
What would you like to go with it?
I don't know, I have to think about it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna run to the store then. So I can. Burgers. Mashed potatoes. Brussels sprouts.
I don't love mashed potatoes. Especially when there's not a gravy.
Pasta?
I think I'd prefer that. Probably,
Okay.
I could make some, I guess.
Pesto pasta?
Yeah. I think so.
Do we have pesto?
I can make some. Get some basil down there.
You wanna go with me or you wanna stay with?
I think I'll go with it because I have nothing to do.
That's really. You know, roti.
Tomatoes are good. Oh, that's lovely. Very nice. Very sweet. I actually have a taste for a pancake.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe we can stop at McDonald's and I'll just get a little pancake. If we're gonna be over at the store. Right,
I think I gotta go to barn to get the out. Because I've never seen it stay.
I have to put a shoe on. These go down here. And it's, I gotta put in one. I was thinking about making some chocolate chip cookies today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Made you think about that?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. These I need for next week. Bracelet. Well. Somebody ate these.
Ate what?
Huh?
Ate what? Cashews. Must have been. Let's get them. Not that I care.
Then I think we should look online, you and I. So I can order my windows and the wood. What do you call that, framing?
Yes.
Okay.
There's your brown blanket right there. The brown blanket you were looking for yesterday.
I have my gloves somewhere.
That's not something right here.
No, I wanna go to the. Yeah. That's not one. Yeah, we heard him. Yeah, they're on the other side. Boy, I like to home. Would not think you did in there through the hall. Can't see, I know. You're excited, I know.
What did you say about little man?
Excited.
No, you said you would not leave.
And that was because he got jacked up by Ton. He wouldn't stop anymore. That was their loose button.
Okay. But try these balls today. Oh, I said, yeah. That was the one, she said I only got two bags in there, and I know I didn't. Well, maybe I did. No, I think I got her a t-shirt too. She wanted one. Yeah. But the t-shirts were so cute. You know that. Yes, I really, is this mine or yours? This, trade check. Taking him or leaving him? You want to go, little man, or not? You want to go? You want to go in? You going with us? You're gonna stay here. It's up to you. Cause I don't care. I don't care personally. You wanna go with? I'm sorry. You go with us. Yeah. He wants to go.
You want to say hi to Juan before we go?
No. Come on, little man. Okay, here we go. There you go. Sit. Sit out.
Boy, the boy got the dad. Gone away. Doing, just your guy, to come to pictures of his unit. His unit. For, final. For, document, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so, well, there's somebody that left early, right?
Yeah.
That was like, sorry, you teach us. Like,
Mindful now.
oh. You want to register?
Uh-huh.
Are you doing that this Sunday?
No.
No, not this thing. Okay.
Now, I want to talk about going to Arizona because you didn't have very much to say about it when you knew that
I think,
it was,
I think it's,
you didn't say a word.
I said, thank you.
You did not. You
said
didn't
a word.
You said, I found out about it by accident.
I,
You did never said thank you.
I-
You never said
okay,
another
thank
thing
you if
about
I
it.
did it.
You
Thank
did not.
I didn't have any idea. I mean, it was just.
Well, when you had an idea, you didn't say.
Well, I don't
anything
even
about
know all the details.
it. You don't need to know. Well, what would you need to know except that it was a gift?
Thank you, thank you. That's
I don't need to
very
know the color of the thing to
Okay,
be
thank
grateful
you.
for the thing.
Thank you, I'm very thankful. Thank you very much.
I think it's something that would be fun for us to do.
Okay, are we driving or?
Yeah, we have to drive because the cars there will be very expensive, as are the
Airfares?
facilities. No, I don't know about the airfares.
Oh.
But we need a car when we get there
Okay,
because we have to go to different.
in fact, did you get the email? State Farm, they wanted the mileage of the car?
No, I did not. Today?
No,
No, I did
it
not.
was like while I was gone.
I did not get it.
Okay, so anyway, you gotta log on to State Farm and put the mileage, and I will give it to you.
They do not know the exact number, so who cares? I can get the first four numbers correct.
114330.
Okay.
Give the phone.
Oh, I'm not doing that now. No,
Oh, it's all over.
no, I'm not. No, I'm enjoying the.
I gotta move that out. Just to look at what. Without ever.
Well, then you don't have to do it today. It would be a day you could do it.
Then tomorrow, which
Yeah.
I think she
That's not
is.
your problem either.
Yeah.
She wasn't available yesterday. Who's the baby? Who's the baby? We should brought it bleach, I think. Well, we could have gone into the phone.
Oh, I'm not gonna take it. Tomorrow.
It's fine. Put them in the cart.
Yeah. You know what? People that do that are just kind of ridiculous.
We don't do that regularly.
I know.
and Our dogs definitely don't have to go with us everywhere. So I'm not one of those people. So I don't want you lumping everybody into the same category. And he'll be fine in the car as well.
Correct.
That is also true.
I don't think. You'll find the pasta.
Tons of pasta.
Vegetable.
Oh, I've got the sweet potato.
Vegetable.
Yeah, of course. So is vegetable. The carb. They're not protein.
I know they're not.
Yeah, I'll make the sweet potatoes, then we can make stuff else. So then you pick the green vegetable I can. So then if you want to vary. I think it's very good.
Well, we'll see what it looks like. Yeah. It always is dicey, no matter when you buy it.
Well, it's winter,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
that
but
would
it's-
mean it's from Chile,
Yeah.
which I
Or
don't,
Mexico.
yeah. You can't, there's a lot of carbon footprint and stuff. Remind me, we're gonna take pictures for my, Carrie and Adrian are gonna go over for super. Oh! I thought he wouldn't stop. First have to be today. He is something, look like this. Well, it doesn't matter. The point is you were in the wrong lane.
I wasn't in the wrong lane. I was not really over, but he had to stop.
It was a she.
Okay, whatever. Okay, you stay here, little man.
We have, bags.
Yeah.
They're in the
Right here.
back.
No, right
Not
here.
right there. Okay, get over here. Come over. Come sit over here. Come on, get over here. Over there. Be right back. Okay? Be back in a minute. You be all right. Stay there. I'll be right back, little man.
You know, I've noticed since I've been back, there's so much more fluid,
Yeah,
like getting out of the car. and
Yeah.
stuff.
getting better.
Finally,
Yeah, that took a long time.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot longer. Let me go to this than I would have liked. That must be, golden on my, holy rock. Oh, there's an olive oil, something in it. Only. Oh, you know what? We can make those little roasted potatoes.
You want pasta?
I. Oh. I didn't know. If you know the taste, I didn't know. I don't mind. Let's see, we could make a zucchini. Where,
What do you mean by make a zucchini?
zucchini.
Right.